2C. Two more Robert Munch stories to read to you. This one today will be called Purple, Green, and Yellow. So that follows the other three that we read. Mud Puddle, 50 Below Zero, and Mortimer. So today's, as I said, was Purple, Green, and Yellow. So, as I've been talking about, Robert Munch usually works with Michael Marchenko as his illustrator. Well, this is a case where Robert Munch is working with someone named Helen Despateaux as his illustrator, so different illustrator on this. Still, Robert Munch's style comes through. Funny, silly kind of writing. Okay, Purple, Green, and Yellow. So we're going to have a story today and a story tomorrow, and then we're probably done with Robert Munch for a little while. Bridget went to her mother and said, "I need some coloring markers. All my friends have coloring markers. They draw wonderful pictures. Mummy, I need some coloring markers." "Oh no," said her mother, "I've heard about those coloring markers. Kids draw on walls, they draw on the floor, they draw on themselves. You can't have any coloring markers." "Well," said Bridget, there are these new coloring markers. They wash off with just water. I can't get into any trouble with coloring markers that wash off. Get me some of those." "Well," said her mother, "all right." So her mother went out and got Bridget 500 washable coloring markers. Bridget went up to her room and drew wonderful pictures. She drew lemons that were yellower than lemons, and roses that were redder than roses, and oranges that were oranger than oranges. Her mother was amazed. She said, "Wow, my kid is an artist." And I know I've got a lot of good artists in my class because I saw some of your drawings. But after a week, Bridget got bored. She went to her mother and said, "Mom, did I draw on the wall?" "No," said her mother. "Did I draw on the floor?" "No," said her mother. "Did I draw on myself?" "No," said her mother. So she's behaving. "Well," said Bridget, "I didn't get into any trouble, and I need some new coloring markers. All my friends have them. Mummy, there are coloring markers that smell. They have ones that smell like roses and lemons and oranges, and even ones that smell like the sunshine. Mom, they have coloring markers that smell like anything you want. Mom, I need those coloring markers." Her mother went out and got 500 coloring markers that smelled. Then Bridget went upstairs and she drew pictures. She drew lemons that smelled like lemons, and roses that smelled like roses, and oranges that smelled like oranges. Her mother said, "Wow, my kid is an artist." But after a week, Bridget got bored. She said, "Mom, did I draw on the floor?" "No," said her mother. "Did I draw on the walls?" "No," said her mother. "Did I draw on myself?" "No," said her mother. Still doing all the right things. Excellent. "Well," said Bridget, "I need some new coloring markers. These are the best kind. All my friends have them. They are super indelible, never come off till you're dead, and maybe even later coloring markers. Mom, I need them." So her mother went out and got 500 super indelible, never come off till you're dead, and maybe even later coloring markers. Bridget took them and drew pictures for 3 weeks. She drew lemons that looked better than lemons, and roses that looked better than roses, and oranges that looked better than oranges, and sunsets that looked better than sunsets. Holy cow, that's a lot of markers. 500. Ooh. Big. Then she got bored. She said, "I'm tired of drawing on the paper, but I am not going to draw on the walls, and I'm not going to draw on the floor, and I'm not going to draw on myself, but everybody knows it's okay to color your fingernails." Uh-oh. Even my mother colors her fingernails. So Bridget took a super indelible, never come off till you're dead, and maybe even later coloring marker, and she colored her thumbnail bright purple. And that was so pretty, she colored all her fingernails purple, black, and yellow. And that was so pretty, she colored her hands yellow, green, and red. Uh-oh, this is the uh-oh moment. Uh-oh. And that was so pretty, she colored her face purple, green, yellow, and blue. And that was so pretty, she colored her belly button blue. And that was so pretty, she colored herself. All sorts of colors, almost entirely all over. Then Bridget looked in the mirror and said, "What have I done? My mother is going to kill me." She ran into the bathroom and washed her hands for half an hour. Nothing came off. Her hands still looked like mixed up rainbows. There she is trying to wash it off. Not working. then she had a wonderful idea. She reached way down in the bottom of the coloring markers and got a special colored marker. It was the same color she was. She took that marker and colored herself all over until she was her regular color again. In fact, she looked even better than before, almost too good to be true. She went downstairs and her mother said, "Why, Bridget, you're looking really good today." "Right," said Bridget. Then her mother said, "It's time to wash your hands for dinner." But Bridget was afraid that the special color would not stick to the colors underneath, so she said, "I already washed my hands." Uh-oh. I think she's going to get found out here. But her mother smelled her hands and said, "Ah, no soap." She took Bridget into the bathroom and washed her hands and face. All the special color came off and Bridget looked like a mixed up rainbow. "Oh no," said her mother. "Bridget, did you color your hands with the coloring markers that wash off?" "No." "Bridget, did you color your hands with the coloring markers that smell?" "No." "Did you use the super indelible never come off till you're dead and maybe even later coloring markers?" "Yes." "Yikes," yelled her mother. She called the doctor and said, "Help, help, help, my daughter has colored herself with super indelible never come off until you're dead and maybe even later coloring markers." "Oh dear," said the doctor, "sometimes they never come off." The doctor came over and gave Bridget a large orange pill. She said, "Take this pill, wait 5 minutes, and then take a bath." So Bridget took the pill, waited 5 minutes, and jumped into the bathtub. Her mother stood outside the door and yelled, "Is it working? Is it working?" "Yes," said Bridget, "everything is coming off." And Bridget was right, everything had come off. When Bridget walked out of the bathroom, though, she was invisible. "Oh no," yelled her mother, "you can't go to school if you're invisible. You can't go to university if you're invisible. You'll never get a job if you're invisible. Bridget, you wrecked your life." Sometimes moms get a little excited. There's Bridget. Did you see her outline? Silly Robert Munch stuff. "Don't worry," said Bridget. She ran into her room, got the special colored marker, and colored herself entirely all over until you couldn't tell the difference. In fact, she looked even better than before, almost too good to be true. But her mother said, "Bridget, you can't go through life like that. You're just a picture. Everyone will know there is something wrong." "No, they won't," said Bridget. "Yes, they will," said her mother. "No, they won't," said Bridget. "I colored Daddy while he was taking a nap, and you haven't noticed anything yet." "Good heavens," yelled her mother, and she ran into the living room and looked at Daddy. He looked even better than before, almost too good to be true. "Doesn't he look great?" asked Bridget. "I couldn't even tell the difference," said her mother. "Right," said Bridget, "and neither will he." As long as he doesn't get wet. And that's a funny ending. Look at that. He's out in the rain and all the coloring markers are coming off and he's looking like a rainbow. Alrighty. Again, good funny stuff from Robert Munch. So 3 things we've talked about are 3 things we should know. What plot means. Plot is what happens in the story. What the characters are. Characters are the animals or people that are in the story. And setting. Setting is where the story takes place. So that story mostly took place in Bridget's house. And the characters there were Bridget, her mom and dad, and the plot, again, is quite funny. It's a humorous story that ends in a funny note with Dad going out in the rain and looking like a mixed up rainbow. All right, go ahead now. That's our 4th Robert Munch story. We'll do one more tomorrow, and then we will take a break from Robert Munch. But he's a great author, and we'll always come back to him. So that was our author study, or that will be our author study after tomorrow. Go ahead and do the questions now that I have posted for you for purple, green, and yellow. Thank you.